Today, I'm going to explain about adjective clauses. Adjective clause is a sub or dependent clause that functions as an adjective, and it modifies a noun or pronoun. Have a look at the example. The book which is on the table is written by Oshima and Hope. Which is on the table is an adjective clause which modifies the book. What book is it? It is the book which is on the table. So, which is on the table describes more about the book. The second example, the dictionary which is on the table is English Indonesian Dictionary. Which is on the table is adjective clause modifying the dictionary. What dictionary is it? It is the one which is on the table. So, which is on the table describes more about the dictionary. In adjective clause, this clause modifies the noun. Like in the examples, the first example, the clause modifies the book, while the second example, the clause or the adjective clause modifies the dictionary. Adjective clause is a subclause that of course needs a main clause. Like in the first example, the book which is on the table is written by Oshima and Hoke. The book is written by Oshima and Hoke is a main clause. Then which is on the table is a subclause, specifically an adjective clause. For the second example, the dictionary is English Indonesian Dictionary is a main clause. And then which is on the table is a subclause, especially an adjective clause, which modifies the dictionary. In adjective clause, there are some relative pronouns that are used to connect between the antecedent or the noun or pronoun that is described by the adjective clause. Those relative pronouns are who, whom, whose, that for humans, which, that, whose for non-humans, and things. Besides, there are some adverbs that are used to connect between the antecedent or the noun or pronoun that is described by the adjective clause. Those are when and where, which refer to a time for when and a place for where. Those relative pronouns and adverbs can be, in some cases, dropped, in some other cases, cannot be dropped. Now I'm going to explain one by one, beginning from who. Who refers to human and function as a subject. It can be restrictive or non-restrictive. Restrictive means the adjective clause is very important, so without any comma. While non-restrictive means that the adjective clause is only an additional information, so comma is needed. Have a look at the example. The author has published some incredible novels and he wrote Laskar Pelangi. Okay, have a look at the examples. There are two independent sentences. Those two independent sentences can be combined into only one complex sentence by using adjective clause. The author has published some incredible novels and he wrote Laskar Pelangi. It can be combined becomes the author who wrote Laskar Pelangi has published some incredible novels. Who in this sentence is used to combine between the antecedent, the noun that is described by the adjective clause, wrote Laskar Pelangi. So who in this case combines between the author and he wrote Laskar Pelangi. The author who wrote Laskar Pelangi has published some incredible novels. So who function as both the relative pronoun and also the subject of the adjective clause. Who wrote Laskar Pelangi is an adjective clause describing the author. Who wrote Laskar Pelangi is a subclause, while the author has published some incredible novels, is a main clause. Overall, this is a complex sentence which consists of a main clause and a subclause. Okay, the second example. Andrea Hirata is my favorite author. He wrote Laskar Pelangi. Oh, yeah. Before we go on to the next example, have a look at the first one. For the first one, these adjective clause function as a restrictive adjective clause because it is very important to it is very important to inform the reader that the author is the one who wrote Laskar Pelangi. So the information is very important. So it is considered restrictive. The second one. Andrea Hirata is my favorite author. He wrote Laskar Pelangi. These two sentences can be combined into only one complex sentence. Andrea Hirata, who wrote Laskar Pelangi, is my favorite author. In this case, the adjective clause who wrote Laskar Pelangi is only additional information because it is already clear who Andrea Hirata is. So this adjective clause is considered non-restrictive. If it functions as non-restrictive, commas are needed. Andrea Hirata, who wrote Laskar Pelangi, is my favorite author. So it is already clear who Andrea Hirata, so the information who wrote Laskar Pelangi is not important anymore. Back to the first example, the author who wrote Laskar Pelangi has published some incredible novels. It is not clear yet who the author is. Before, an information about the author that is in the form of adjective clause who wrote Laskar Pelangi. So in this case, who wrote Laskar Pelangi is very important to know. That is why this clause is considered as restrict. Next, the second relative pronoun is whom. Whom refers to human, functions as object, and it can be both restrictive or non-restrictive. Have a look at the examples. The professor has carried out some crucial research. I discussed my thesis proposal with him. Him refers to professor, so the second sentence explains more about who the professor is. Now those two sentences can be combined into only one complex sentence, that is, the professor with whom I discussed my thesis proposal has carried out some crucial research. Or the professor whom I discussed my thesis proposal with has carried out some crucial research. The first combination is a formal one, the second one is informal one. Have a look at the example. I discussed my thesis proposal with him. Him refers to the professor. In this case, him is the object of a preposition. So the position of the professor is actually as the object of a preposition in the second sentence. So to combine those two sentences, whom is needed to combine those two sentences when the antecedent becomes the object of a preposition in this case. The professor whom I discussed my thesis proposal has carried out some crucial research. Don't forget to drop him when you combine two sentences because it is already mentioned in the sentence. The professor with whom I discussed my thesis proposal has carried out some crucial research. Okay, now the second example, Prof. John has carried out some crucial research. I discussed my thesis proposal with him. These two sentences can be combined into Prof. John with whom I discussed my thesis proposal is in London now. Okay, for the first example, I have already explained before. The adjective clause function as restrictive because it explains more about the professor. The professor is not already known before, so with whom I discussed my thesis proposal is an important information that must be known by others. With whom I discussed my thesis proposal is an adjective clause. The professor has carried out some crucial research is a main clause. Well, actually, whom in this case can be dropped. So the professor I discussed my thesis proposal with has carried out some crucial research. So because whom functions only as the relative pronoun, it can be dropped. I, in this case, function as the subject of the adjective clause. Discussed function as the verb of adjective clause. So it is already complete. So whom function as only the relative pronoun. So it can be dropped. For the second example, the information about Prof. John is not necessary. So it is considered as non-restrictive. It is already clear who Prof. John is. So when with whom I discussed my thesis proposal is dropped, for example, is dropped, it is already clear who Prof. John is. So in this case, because the information is only additional information, so the adjective clause is considered non-restrictive. Commas are needed. Prof. John, with whom I discussed my thesis proposal, is in London now. Prof. John is in London now is a main clause, while with whom I discussed my thesis proposal is adjective clause. Okay, then the next relative pronoun is whose. Whose refers to human or non-human. Function as possessive. It can be both restrictive or non-restrictive. Have a look at the examples. The first sentence, the student gets scholarship. The second one, her score is the best in class. Her score, her refers to the student. The student's score is the best in class. So to combine those two sentences, it can be the student whose score is the best in class gets scholarship. Because her is a kind of possessive, so the relative pronoun that can be used is whose. The student whose score is the best in class gets scholarship. Whose score is the best is adjective clause, while whose score is the best in class is an adjective clause. The student gets scholarship is a main clause. Whose score is the best in class is a necessary information because we do not know who the student is. So it is considered as restrictive. No commas needed. Then the second example, Tanti gets scholarship. Her score is the best in class. Her score, her in this case refers to Tanti. Her is a possessive adjective. So the relative pronoun that can be used is whose. Tanti, whose score is the best in class, gets scholarship. Whose score is the best in class is only additional information that is not necessary actually. So it can be dropped perhaps in some cases. So it is considered non-restrictive. Commas are needed. Tanti, whose score is the best in class, gets scholarship. Okay, we go on to the next. The next adjective, no, I mean the next relative pronoun is which refers to thing, function as subject or object. It can be restrictive or non-restrictive. Have a look at the example. The book is lost. I borrowed it from you. It refers to the book. So in this case, it functions as the object of a verb. So because it is non-human and function as the object, so relative pronoun that can be used is which. The book which I borrowed from you is lost. Which I borrowed from you is adjective clause, while the book is lost is the main clause. Which I borrowed from you is unnecessary information because we do not know what book it is. That's why which I borrowed from you is very important to know. So commas are not needed. For the next one, for the first example, because it is an important information to know, so which I put from you is considered restrictive. When, well, for the second example, the book Laskar Pelangi is the title of the book, is lost. I borrowed it from you. The book Laskar Pelangi, which I borrowed from you, is lost. Which I borrowed from you is not necessary information. So it can be trapped in some cases, so commas are needed. And this adjective clause is considered non-restrictive because we have already known the book. So information is not necessary. Okay, the next relative pronoun is that. It can replace who, whom, and which. Mostly that refers to human. Function as subject or object. If it is object, that as relative pronoun can be omitted. Okay, in this case, it is restrictive only. The man is a bad boy. You love him. Him refers to the man. Him function as the object of a verb. So there are many possibilities of the relative pronouns that can be used in this sentence to connect between, to combine between two sentences. It can be whom, because whom refers to human function as the object, or it can be that. The man that you love is a bad boy. That you love is an adjective clause describing the man. And in this case, that function only as restrictive. The man you love is a bad boy. Whom that is replaced by that in this case function as only a relative pronoun, so it can be dropped. The man you love is a bad boy. It is simpler. And then the next one, some of whom, all of whom, many of whom, most of whom, and etc. Those refer to human. And those are always non-restrictive. The citizens of Indonesia will vote for new president in 2014. Most of them are Muslim. The citizens of Indonesia, most of whom are Muslims, will vote for new president in 2014. Most of whom are Muslims is adjective clause describing the antecedent, the citizens of Indonesia, and this function as always non-restrictive. In the next example, foreigners consider Indonesian citizens as friendly people. Most of them are Muslims. There are two sentences that can be combined into only one complex sentence by using most of whom as relative pronoun. Foreigners consider Indonesian citizens, most of whom are Muslims, as friendly people. Again, most of whom functions as only restrictive. And most of whom cannot be dropped because it functions as both relative pronoun and the subject of the adjective clause. And the next, some of which, all of which, many of which, and most of which. Those refer to thing. Some of which, all of which, many of which, most of which, and etc. Those refer to thing, and those are always non-restrictive. The novels are in my bookshelf. Some of them are written by Andrea Hirata. These two sentences can be combined into only one sentence by using some of which. The novels, some of which are written by Andrea Hirata, are in my bookshelf. Some of which are written by Andrea Hirata is an adjective clause describing the novels. In this case, some of which is only used in non-restrictive clause. So you must put commas. The novels, comma, some of which are written by Andrea Hirata, comma, are in my bookshelf. Okay. Then there are various novels in my bookshelf. Some of them are written by Andrea Hirata. There are various novels in my bookshelf, some of which are written by Andrea Hirata. These two sentences are combined into only one sentence by using some of which. Okay, the next one is the best whom, the the most important of whom, the oldest of whom, etc. Those refer to human, and those are always non-restrictive. Example, a lot of people are attending the international conference. The youngest of them is from New Zealand. Those two sentences are combined into only one sentence by using the youngest of whom. Yeah, a lot of people, the youngest of whom is from New Zealand, are attending the international conference. The youngest of whom is from New Zealand is an adjective clause specifying the antecedent a lot of people. A lot of people, the youngest of whom is from New Zealand, are attending the international conference. This adjective clause is always considered as non-restrictive. I have many smart students. For the next example, I have many smart students. The best of them got perfect GPA. I have many smart students, the best of whom got perfect GPA. The best of whom got perfect GPA describes the antecedent many smart students, specifying many smart students. The adjective clause is attached directly into the antecedent that is described. In this case, the best of whom blah 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 as the adjective clause is always non-restrictive, so comma is needed. I have many smart students, the best of whom got perfect GPA. The next one, the best of which, the most important of which, the least expensive, etc. Refer to saying, and those are always restrictive. Some methods of English language teaching are proposed by different theories. The most classical of them is grammar translation method. Those two sentences are combined into only one sentence, a complex sentence. That is, some methods of English language teaching, the most classical of which is grammar translation method, are proposed by different theories. The most classical of which is grammar translation method is an adjective clause which is considered as always non-restrictive. So comma is needed. Some method of English language teaching, the most classical of which is grammar transition method, are proposed by different theories. Then the next example, I bought 3 new cell phones last month. The least expensive of them was stolen. Those two sentences are then combined into only one complex sentence, becomes I bought 3 new cell phones last month, the least expensive of which was stolen. So the main clause is I bought 3 new cell phones last month. The least expensive of which was stolen is an adjective clause which is considered as subclause. The least expensive of which was stolen is always considered as non-restrictive. Then the next one is when. When refers to time and it can be restrictive or non-restrictive. The month is Ramadan. Muslim fast in that month. The month when Muslim must fast is Ramadan. When Muslim must fast is an adjective clause which is considered as restrictive. So commas are not needed because it describes the man, describes the man. I went to Mecca for the first time in Ramadan. All Muslims all over the world must fast in that month. I went to Mecca for the first time in Ramadan when all Muslims all over the world must fast. Because it is already clear what Ramadan is, so when all Muslims all over the world must fast as an adjective clause is not necessary. So comma is needed in this case. Where refers to a place. It can be used in restrictive or non-restrictive. Example, the campus is located in Malang. I obtained my graduate degree from this place. Those two sentences are combined into only one complex sentence by using where. The campus from where I obtained my graduate degree is located in where I obtained my graduate degree is an adjective clause which is very interesting to know because we do not know what campus it is. So from where I obtained my graduate degree is very important to know that is constituted as restrictive and no commas are needed. The next example, I teach at Unisma. I got my graduate degree from this place. Those two sentences can be combined into only one sentence by using where. I teach at Unisma where I got my graduate degree. Where I got my graduate degree is an adjective clause describing Unisma, and it is not necessary to know because it is already clear. Unisma is already clear. Everyone knows. And where I got my graduate degree is considered as non-restrictive, so comma is needed. Okay, this exercise is for you to do. The direction, combine the two sentences in each number below by using adjective clause as the example. Okay, the reference is from Let's Write Writing Tool module. This is the reference. Thanks for the attention. Please wait for the next tutorial for you.